Hello and welcome. This is AAA Wargaming, and this is going to be a game 4 of the English Championships. Apologies for the delays for this one, but Christmas and the season has got in the way of things. I'm just going to sort of quickly get these recorded on Christmas Day and get the last two put back out to you this evening. So my game number 4, I said this would be Sunday morning. I was a little hungover, I'll be honest, but luckily some pretty cold northern weather kind of woke me up on the walk down, which I was absolutely grateful for. I think it'd been raining, I'd have felt even worse. But my first opponent was Darren Williamson with Empire of Sonstorm. Now I've played Darren before, and I haven't really got above 6 points, but I've played him before. He's a very nice bloke, and he was running a really cool list, as you'll see. It was Refuse Flank, which I think for Silver Nails is actually a disadvantage for us because it, as much as it looks quite wide, because of the way deployment works, we actually get less space to deploy. And so I don't, especially, I think if you have a big tree list and it's something quite blocky, I think this plays to your advantage. And with Breakthrough, I think this is, it's definite disadvantage us. But playing Empire Sonstorm where they're quite static, especially with their scoring units, and it's the critical bit here was going to be where I place my 2 Dryad darts to get that scoring objective. But otherwise, that's where we're going. So out of my list, my 2 big Dryads, he's Empire Sonstorm, he's going to have a tank. So the avatar is going for the tank, and it's just making sure the Druid Dragon is close enough to actually affect that, and just give him the bit of the beast to actually go through it. I'm also going to be quite wary, so he's going to probably have a few war machines for the Druid on the Dragon and just keep that away. Yeah, it's going to be quite thin, but also it's how I push to get the objective whilst maintaining a line to stop him getting his scoring units through, and I think that's where the Blade Dancer is coming quite key, so I can push with one side and not the other. I'm going to be quite worried about with my Wild Huntsman. They're quite susceptible to small arms fire. Empire of Sunstorm are going to have a reasonable amount of shooting, even if it's not a gun line. So it's just something I'm going to have to be quite wary of. And then looking at his list, it's quite cool, as I said. He's got a Marshal on a Dragon, Crown of the Wizard King. I think it's really cool. I know I've asked Endymon on the forum. Endymon? Either way, he's a guy from New Zealand that's taken a similar list to what I had before, but he's changed out the Pathfinders for Sentinels. And he's taken Life Seed on the Dragon, and I was just wondering, a Crown of the Wizard King on our Dragon. You look at the number 1 spells, they're really quite cool actually, and it could, like he got Spectral Blades in this, but it's just something a bit different. And the Imperial Prince are all about 4 attacks. Once you've hit, the automatic wound AP 10 is absolutely lethal to a lot of characters now. So it's obviously not great for synergies with Empire, but it was still really cool. It's nice to see an Empire Dragon. And then he's got his classic BSB, luckily no Locket of Sunna, but a Wizard Master from Cosmology. This is going to be useful for healing the tank with Touch of the Heart, so that's going to be something I'm going to have to be aware of. And I'm going to have a choice between he either heals the wound I'm probably going to have done to him, or give them a 5+ Aegis, so I don't really want to do that. But then he's also got Ice and Fire, which I really don't want to get into all my range and all this other stuff, so it's a very nasty wizard for me. And when you couple that with the Arcane Engine and +1 strength, it's a very good combination. The other part is the key things that stand out to me apart from that. The Imperial Guard themselves, but then they're not very mobile, so I can give away. And then yeah, the Imperial Guard aren't great, but the Arcane Engine is going to be annoying. I need to get rid of that just to make the Imperial Guard manageable. And then the volley gun and the steam tank. The steam tank's really tough. I've got one thing that can go through it, and that's the avatar. So if that gets shot off or destroyed or put down, and I can't deal with that, that's just going to stop my entire advance. And the volley gun has got to be, but the volley gun has got to be my priority because that could just mince my Dryads and anything else I wanted. So that's going to be my priority target, followed by the Arcane Engine to make the Imperial Guard more manageable, and then hopefully the Dragon will be in range for the Sentinels. So that's my thought. But overall, I think I've got an advantage with scoring because I think his will be slightly slight static, but overall I think I'm okay. I'm a little concerned about his Dragon, just because if I don't roll, especially if he gets into the avatar, because if I don't roll any 5+ Aegis, he's going to kill him very quickly. In terms of spell selection, I went with my classic Druidism. Very boring. I must admit, I'm starting to get a little like, I wish I'd taken the shamanism master. So I'm very, very tempted to take a shamanism on dragon, just to the next tournament, just for something a bit different, to have a bit of a laugh, and then to use a master of earth, so I can go hunting down to his arcane engine and other stuff, and forest embrace, just because that gives me a little bit of soft cover for his shooting. He took Truth of Time just to minimise my advantage with the Wild Huntsman. He got Ice and Fire and Unity Adventures, obviously, to Touch of the Heart, just to balance. I think was really good. His Imperial Prince got Spectral Blades, and that's so strong, as we saw in the battle against the Dread Elves. And his Arcane Engine's got Perception and Strength Bound spells, so it's a really strong magic phase. And I just, yeah, it's one of those things that pairs quite well with the army he's got as well, because Touch Heart also works quite well with the Imperial Prince. So going on to deployment, and this is where he chose a side, so he chose that side. So he chose this side here, and what he's got is impassable back here, which I was very happy with. And then he's got cancel. Sorry. So this is the way I did. I chose the side, and I chose this side, and the reason was I thought going across this way, I would have a hill, and then I'd also have a hill here, so I could advance no matter what his war machines were doing. And then he also had this impassable terrain in the backfield, so that I could take Master of Earth and just dominate with at least a spell. He then got a forest on the left, and a forest in the centre, so I was pretty happy with that. And then we've got a wall back here, so it's something I could use my Dryads in. Darren then said, you can put down first, and I thought, okay, actually this is a chance, it's breakthrough, so I can advance quicker and get good board position, because it's going to be difficult to get in, I think, with this deployment, because actually what we're talking about is this small area back here to actually score on. And when you've got the number of big blocky stuff he's got, it's really difficult to actually do this thing. So what I wanted, I thought, right, go for first turn, 1, to give you a chance to get rid of the volley gun, and 2, to get a bit of space. So I did. So I deployed before any of his stuff had gone down. And what my thought was, I was going to push on my right flank and try and get into his scoring. So I was like, let's go big on this. Dryads, 2 smaller Dryads, Briar Maidens and Heath Hunters. Just if he puts, because if I put my Dryads down here, he's going to want to put his volley gun near it. Therefore, I want to put most of my shooting sort of in this corner, even though they're here, but they can either go that way or into this area here and just take out the volley gun. So I was pretty happy with that. And I've got my monsters and centres going left or right. The Blade Dancers, their role was going to be using the forest here to block off this side and just make sure that he can't score, while the Wild Huntsmen were going to zone more to the left-hand side. And it worked pretty well. What he did then was he put his steam tank on this side just to go after my Dryads, I think. Blocked me off his volley gun, as I thought, just to kill off the Dryads, and then his Imperial Guard to face off my Dryads, because I think in a one-on-one match there he wins, especially if you've got his Arcane Engine with distracting up. It's just not something I want to do, or hatred, or one of those two. But he's got his crossbowmen in the centre. They've got big long ranges. It's not something I can get into a long fight in. Either I've got to go and get them, or stay out of their range. And with the Prince at the back, just so he can react to whichever movement I got. And then he's got his 2 militias here, and this is just so they can provide good chaff for counter charges, and they're quite annoying actually. They prove quite good. He's then got his Knights of the Sun Griffin here just to come around the corner, and his heavy infantry in your big run. They're just going to come down here. So in many ways, I think we've had the opposite tactic. I'm going to push on the right. He's going to push on his right, my left, and we'll see who gets the objective on that and what happens. And then I think he's hoping his shooting just messes my lot up, and I'm hoping my Blade Dancers and Wild Huntsmen can just hold him up enough so that I can push through. In terms of my turn 1 with Vanguards, I just pushed everything up here, and that's just so they can start seeing the volley gun unaimed there. The Huntsmen are on the left still, just so they can zone this area, because if they start coming around there or go for a charge, they've pushed to the front of the woods, so they still get soft cover. But it just means that if he starts moving forward to any of this area, especially the heavy infantry and the Sons of Griffin, I can just go for a swift charge there. I kept the dragon in the centre. I made an assumption that I was going to kill that, therefore I didn't have to worry too much from there. I think part of it is I keep underestimating strength 4 shooting, and I just need to stop doing that, especially with dragons and stuff like that. And that I could affect him with either entwining roots or something like that. as it happens, on this side also, you can see I pushed up quite hard, and this was all aiming at that. And the avatar is quite clearly going for the steam tank, but I want to keep this forest in the way, just so, and I think this is moving it. I just want to keep it in the way so that if he comes in, I get to reroll ones to wound, because it just gives me that extra possibility. But otherwise, I'm slowly moving up. I'm not as quick as I'd want to, but I just don't want to give everyone in range of a random movement of the steam tank. And that's it. Yeah, that's Darren smiling, taking it in very good stead, because first turn I shot off his volley gun. So plan is working well, though last time this worked well was with the Dread Elves, and that went completely horribly. So the volley gun is gone, turn one shooting, that was very good. I think that was the Sentinels that just rolled really hard in their poison and just went through it. So that is a good start to it. In his turn one, what happened here is he just maneuvered the tank there. That was so he's going to take a shot. He realised it was sort of, if he moved in there, he'd take dangerous terrains, and then he's moved anyway. It's still so he decided to stay still and shoot at the Avatar and Dragon. He's kept them back there. He doesn't want to move forward because otherwise the Avatar will go straight into him, and that creates quite a bad thing. But what he has done is he's moved up here just behind the hill, and he's just edging over, but it's quite a long charge for the Blade Dancers. Whilst he's moving these two up on this side, just to start picking off in this area, whilst the militia come there, just attempt a few charges in the centre and pick off some of my units here. But otherwise keep his battle line. But I'm quite happy with this because his scoring units are all quite far back. I'm not in I feel I'm in a better position as long as my avatar doesn't take too many wounds. So I'm happy with that. He gets Unity of Divergence up on his tank, which is great for him because it's 5+ ward, especially if I do a long bond charge and I get in, because I think I'm just about in range. But otherwise his tank misses. Well, doesn't really. If it does hit the avatar, it goes to the avatar. It does a few wounds, but here is his big one. So his militia caused a wound on the. No, sorry, they looked at it. They didn't cause a wound to Wild Huntsman. They'd shoot at them. But on this side, you can see here between the magic and crossbowmen here in the centre, you got 3 sentinels off to put that unit down to 6 and taking a couple of blade dancers off. So not the end of the world because I can re-heal them quite easily. But it's just demonstrating even at long range without any +1 to hit on cosmology, they are starting to do some damage, and it's it's just a bit of warning here. So Silvernail's turn 2. Sorry, apologies. So my big problem is how I deal with it. So what I wanted to do, I didn't want to move my avatar in because I didn't want to take strength 7 impact hits from the tank. But my next big target on this was stick to the plan. So my next big target is actually this guy. So I want to start taking some wounds off. And I think this is the end of turn 2. So my target is start putting some stuff on this side. So I think I've got a wound here from shooting. But all I've done here is I've just kept it very central here. Move the Briar Maidens in from this side. And this is so they can either shoot at that plus get eyes on this bad boy, but also they can provide chaff if I need to in this area, whilst they can provide chaff as well. It doesn't affect my scoring because I've kept them out of range. And I've kept the dragon in pretty much this bubble here, so he can pretty much dominate this area in the magic phase and start growing some of my models. At this point I've kept my Wild Huntsman out on the left, and that's just to keep all his models further away, but otherwise I haven't really moved my in this turn I did get 20 roots off on his tank, so he's got -1. I think, no, it was -2 to hit because I got Oaken thrown off, so because he stopped some other stuff, so I got -2 to hit on that, so I'm pretty safe on that side. So he's probably going to have to come forward to get better hit or just not hit at all. And then as you can see, I've put all my shooting into these things, and I didn't expect to kill them because you've got an avatar, 5 shots here, 6 shots here, 5 shots there, and we didn't kill them off. What's worse is they passed their leadership check. So it's something on that side, but I did cause the wound here, so I'm happy with that. So I think my sentinels went for that one, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm starting to take off, so the plan hasn't ended completely. Right, Empire on still turn 2, so you can see here he doesn't want to advance in this way, and so the tactic you can lay dancers there in the Wild Hunts on that side is working. You can see that he's realised he's going to have to start pushing at some point. So we've pushed the tank into this area here. So he didn't take any DTs, but this is where I want him because this is right in the range of the Avatar. And if the Avatar fails to charge, I've got lots of chaff around here between the Briar Maidens and the Heath Hunters to basically give myself another turn. He's got these 3 onto here, so they're going to start shooting here, and it just means it's something annoying that I have to deal with, but I've got to get rid of this, because if I don't, he's going to start moving the Imperial Guard up and the heavy infantry if I just leave them there, because he'd be able to block the Blade Dancers, which is not something I want to get a counter charge from at least 2 units, because I don't think I'd win that. If I take a charge from one of them, I can win. If I take a charge from 2, no. And otherwise, I think you can see he's got unity divergence off on the tank here, which is quite annoying. In shooting, he shot with his Orders crossbows, and I got quite lucky here, so I've only lost 1 Briar Maiden, so I did my 4+ saves really, really well. And then you see here, so this is, sorry, my turn 3. So again, went off of this. This is Master of Earth, and that's on that. I got really lucky here, so I think I rolled 5 hits, of which there were 5 wounds, and Darren rolled no saves, or it doesn't have a save. One of the two. Effectively, I killed it in one go. Like the rest of the wounds all gone. Like, so I've killed the volley gun and that all in one go. So well done, Briar Maidens, with their spell, and it shows how quite lucky. But here you can see what I've done here is I've decided that this side is not that dangerous. They're not going to go past, so the Blade Dancers can stay there, and I can keep healing them with the dragon. So what I wanted to do was move the Wild Huntsman into the centre here to threaten these guys with a long charge to not put the Dryads at risk. So the Dryads don't get to stay there. They go in, they do a load of damage, and then the Avatar comes in and slows and mops up, and then these 3 sort of just move on to the objective. That was my plan. But what I have done is brought them within 24 inches of this area, so it is a risk, and it's not something I looked at the time with any significance, and it's probably something I need to start thinking about with Wild Huntsmen. Because in reality, they're doing their job over here. I'm keeping them back, and I'm slowly grinding them, but it was also in case if the Avatar doesn't do that well in the tank. But what I have done is I've charged the Avatar into a tank, and I've just started moving around the right. Seeing as he's got no volley gun, the tank has come out, and I can start moving around his flank, and it just forces Dragon to react while I can push in the centre. I haven't really got a plan for the for the Blade Dancers apart from sit there, and at the moment that's a lot of points that I'm fixing or being fixed, but also it's fixing all of this, which is working quite well. My Sentinels are probably going to start looking off this way. I want to get rid of some of this chaff here between the Heath Hunters and the Sentinels, and I find that's working quite well, but I probably should have kept I think my big problem here is I should have kept the Wild Huntsman here, because then I can start making long charges here and just start threatening them quite a lot here and start moving around this side. Because bringing the centre, all I've done is bunch myself up and open myself up to a major weakness. What you can see here is my Dryads trying to go forward without getting in range and start moving around. This was probably a mistake, because all this has done is we worked it out later, but I cannot actually get into his objective now. So that's a bit of a mistake. Otherwise, I've got Stone Skin off here with Oaken thrown off, so I've healed someone somewhere, but more importantly, he's now res 9, so there's no way that tank's going to really do anything to him, and it doesn't. I cause maybe a wound to the tank, and that's about it. But yeah, Empire Sunsoul turn 2, so this is where you can see he's done fairly little movement, but he has moved the dragon across here. He's going to try and use a breath weapon off here, but it's just to stop the Briar Maidens coming around this flank here and to the flank of his crossbowmen, which I think was a good move. He doesn't need to worry about it, and then also cast Spectral Blades on the tank, which is something I was obviously had a bit of PTSD over from Red Elves game where Spectral Blades smashed. So that was going to be my thought process with the Binding Scroll. So you can see how that this side he's started to push a bit more with his chaff. I was quite happy with this because I was still in the forest. I don't think he was going to kill me a lot because his save's quite high. So I was still relatively happy, and it's keeping his scoring units back. You can see they haven't moved for 3 turns. and I'm just the Blade Dancer doing exactly what I want them to do. In Magic, he gets Unity out of Avenge Self, so he's got 5+ Aegis again, and I do not know what that is. Ooh. Either way, Spectral Blades. Either way, he gets 2 spells off on them, and he also gets Truth of Time off on the Wild Huntsman. So basically, they're minimise charging, so they're not able to easily go into the Imperial Guard in the centre, because I think he saw what part of my plan was there. But it didn't matter because he killed in between magic and shooting, killed a couple more Blade Dancers off there, so I've lost them, and then he took off the back rank of the Wild Huntsman itself. Just a note of warning, he took off the entire Wild Huntsman in his magic and shooting, so that was pretty bad. And then between these two, he took off another Heath Hunter here. So a pretty good phase for shooting overall, because I think I've wasted my Wild Huntsman in that one, and I should have kept them for other ones. I could have kept them a few inches further back. I didn't need to charge the Imperial Guard. I didn't need to put them at risk, and that was just really stupid because now I've lost a big cost of 500 points for some crossbowmen that didn't actually, like, even if I'd charged them into the Imperial Guard, yes, I'd have reduced them, but I'd have died slow time. I'd have lost the grind, and I should have left them out here just to threaten this side. But in this side, the Avatar is pounding the tank. I've taken no wounds because I'm still got Stone Skin off, but equally, because I'm rerolling once to wound in combat, I put 3 wounds through Unity out of Avenge, and it didn't do that well, so he's only got 3 or 4 wounds left or something stupid like that. But that's good on that one. So my turn 4. So in terms of charges, I've done no charges. So firstly, I failed a march check on my Briar Maidens, so which is quite bad because they're in the musician of the Imperial Guard. So I just moved them 9 inches back. And that was just to give the dragon a choice between charging into the Avatar and moving back there. I've moved my Heath Hunters and Centaurs across this side because what I want to do, because they've got the militia here, my plan was shoot them and kill them, and hopefully panic off the militia because they'll be outside of General's range and they'll be on something really low. I've moved the Blade Dancer across here just to cover from any charges from them, and also just to entice them in because I think he's going to have to start pushing at some point. So he's got a choice of either pushing here or pushing around. This was where my Wild Huntsmen were, and they'd be really useful right now because I could do something with them. But otherwise, I kept my Dragon in the center here just so we could support the Blade Dancer there and the Avatar. And then I reformed the Dryads so they were 5 wide. And this is because I'm thinking he's either going to go in there and then I'm going in, or yeah, it's going to get interesting. And then just moving the Dryads around just to make sure they can score up this flank. And the Heath Hunters here are staying here just to add a bit of chaff. Right, so this went okay. So firstly, the Centaurs shot at them, kill 3, and unfortunately the Writers failed their leadership check, so they ran. They ran, and then these guys were ran through or didn't, whatever, but they passed, so they stuck. So what I've now got is I haven't killed them, so I've got to go after them and get them, and they're not below 25%. So I'm not getting any points at the moment for them. So because there's a high chance I'm running, and then these guys are still here, so I need to deal with them. But otherwise okay. And in this one, so I've got Stone Skin up again, and he's got Unit of Urgence, and then that's it. So I just put a load of wounds on him, so he's down to 6 wounds. He's got 1 wound left, so my big thing there. So going into his turn, I was pretty happy with that. I knew I was going to kill off the tank. He couldn't get a charge on the Avatar because I reformed in such a way that I was out of box. So what he did was he charged the Briar Maidens and I fled. And I think long term, either they didn't rally and they ran off the board, or he caught them. One of the two. I'm not sure why, but either way, I didn't have the spells or the channel for the rest of the game. And they were gone, which is a bit of a shame because actually that means he still has to go and get them. But now he's got a choice of Dryads, stop me getting the objective, or going into my Avatar, which is not a good matchup, I think, for me. I think overall he kills me. just because unless I'm rolling very high for my 5+, because my big things are about wounding, and he's automatically wounding, so it's not great. But I think I'm in a better position. I think I'm going to kill him in his turn, and then I'm going to sprint into these guys. So he's got a bit of a choice. He also charges his Sun's Griffin into this, and I think he wanted to spread my Druid and spells, but I think the Blade Dancers will kill them on their own, and he's brought his heavy infantry out. So if I turn up with quite a bit of this, and I've still got my magic, I may go in, I may tempt him, but he's also, I think he's feeling the pressure a bit on the scoring objective. He wants to put his models in quickly to try and at least have some advantage. And then you see here, so I think he left the Brahmanians, so they failed their leadership check and buggered off. He's obviously tried to redirect into them and failed, thank you, because that's really good, because they're the only, between these two, they're my only real chance of getting into his objective. But what he's done is he's moved Imperial Guard here forward, because he's not worried about charging dragon, because they will eat the dragon, but also it means I have to go and get them, because otherwise he can get into my objective. But otherwise I'm still in that fight there, and what I do is I kill him. He has a really bad magic phase on this one. He just couldn't get anything through, and I was stopping stuff. So they've got nothing on. He didn't get Unity of Divergence or anything off. He didn't get Touch the Heart, but effectively I kill that. And then, but what he does do in shooting is he gets this down to 2 wounds between magic. Maybe he got Ice and Fire off, and I was quite happy with that. And this should have been a warning sign for me that his shooting is actually reasonably effective. Should have been thinking about that, but I wasn't. And then in combat, the Blade Dancers do what they do. I lose 1, but I've between the BSB getting minus distracting off, I think I choose +1 AP, and no, I chose no. I think it was +1 AP and Lethal Strike just to get no. It was +1 attack, because I realised my spear was doing that. It was just to get so many attacks through, and I just decimated 2 of them in one go. So there was one guy left, and I've caused a couple of wounds on him, and then he only caused 1 wound on back to me. So yeah, he ran through there. They passed their panic check. They don't mind. What he does is he panics. He runs off the board because he's gone. And what I do is I test restrain, I pass, and my reasoning is here. I don't want to go and charge them in the open because I'm out of the forest. If I fluff, then they take me out. And also it means I'm out of the range of the dragon. Now, because it's my turn next, maybe I should have done, because I wasn't quite sure on this side, and I could have pushed. So in reality, the better move was to push here, I think. I think this was a minor mistake I made, but I think the overall plan still matches, because the Blade Dancers have taken out his first scoring unit, and now they can still take out the second one. But it was a mistake on a minor level. It's 6 and 1/2 a dozen the other. It dies on that point, I think. But that's yeah, potentially. And then this one you can see I've taken out that's him taking off the steam tank, so I've killed the steam tank for 1 wound lost. So thank God of that. And now it's my turn. So those Imperial Guard, I get it. I charge the Dryads in with lots of ranks and the Avatar. So I was feeling pretty strong at this point. Those aren't dead. They're just, I need to move them up into the correct field. So this is good. I feel I'm going to grind these ones down. I've just got to worry about the dragon a bit. But otherwise I'm going to get into his deployment zone and give him a bit of a choice. In shooting, I've chased at these so I can, and you can see them here. So that's just so I can take out those last 2, which I do, and then these guys shoot off and they run. So they bugger off over here and run off the board or die or something eventually. But that was kind of what I was going for. In combat, I absolutely tear the Imperial Guard apart. Everyone, the Dryads were on fire, the Avatar was on fire, and then the Thunderstomps were on fire. I've just gone through, so I'm like, yes, BSB and this. I was like, yeah, I've broken a steadfast. At which point Darren goes, you do realise they're stubborn or unbreakable with a bit. I was like, damn it. So the Imperial Guard is still there, and I should have expected that. They're an elite unit. They shouldn't be running. They're gonna die for the Empire and Sigma and all that jazz. But yeah, especially with their mate on a dragon around there. But yeah, so his turn. That dragon is going to have a choice between eating my Dryads and taking my objective, or more likely coming in here to eat everyone else, because otherwise if he goes after those Dryads, I'll probably eat the objective anyway and I eat his Imperial Guard. So I know that's coming in, but otherwise the Avatar and Dryades did well on this one. So I was really happy with that combat. I was quite confident. He comes in with his dragon in the flank. Not unexpected, but I'm a little worried, but I'm still confident, I think. This is where it goes wrong. So he's posted his magic on this. So this is ice and fire, so he just takes a wound off. And this makes him think, oh, he can do this. You can see that he's moved his heavy infantry forward so they can run here. And I've moved my blade dancers back, actually, instead, just so they're out of range of them. And I can block my deployment zone. So that's something. You can see how defensive I was on this side. One thing, I don't think he was in the arc of them coming off the hill and charging the flank of my Dryads. I think either that or he thought the dragon would do the business in here. This was something, because I wanted to be in range of this combat and the blade dancers. I put myself in this weird, and I was still in 24 inches of his wizard. So his ice and fire did this, and then the rest of his crossbow shooting did that. I'd like to point out, one of the unit didn't fail to hit or wound. One unit took the dust 2 wounds off the dragon, so I need to be aware of strength 4 shooting on that. It's not good enough, especially because crossbows are like AP1 or AP2. So when you start going up to lots of hits like that on that, I've only got a 5-up save because there's nothing on him. I just should have been more careful. So that was bad on me. So let's have a think about that. That's 865 points I've lost there, and then this happens. So I win combat pretty well. I lose combat because I'm in the flank and all that, and he kills a few Imperial Guard, and I roll badly, so I haven't killed that many. He puts like 1 wound on me or something like that. It really wasn't much. I do 1 wound to him, and then I don't do the Thunderstomp quite that. And no, I was in challenge, so I was in challenge with him. So it stops the Thunderstomp here, and the Dryads didn't roll very well. I lose combat. The Dryads stick, and the Avatar fails. So he overruns the Avatar into the Dryads. So I've now lost another 800 points. So I've lost about 1,650 points in this, just 1,665 points just in this, hit the back end of 5. So that's not great. But my Dryads are here and they're going to get into objectives. So I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win the scoring. But whether I'm going to win this one, I don't know. And then Silvernail's turn 6. What I've done is I could have charged a blade dancer in there, but I just thought that was really risky because if I lose this combat over here, he then has got a flank charge into my blade dancers because I don't think I'm breaking them, not with the general and BSB there, because I don't think this is as certain it is. So I decided not to put them in, especially as I can't give them a wood anymore because my Briar Maidens ran off there and my dragon's dead here, so I've got no magic support. So I kept them at the back. I chaffed there. These and my Sentinels just went off here to shoot these guys and kill them off. And other than that, I'm just hoping that they can survive till the end of the game whilst they keep scoring. So that was it. Doesn't work. They get run down by these guys. So yes, they can't get to my objective, but that's the way it goes. But it does happen on his turn rather than mine, which is really good. So this is something I don't get the full points for the Imperial Guard because there's that 1 champion still there. God damn you. And his BSB. So it was quite a lot of points there, but it does mean I've lost, including these and the Heath Hunters, another 600 points. So I've lost about 2,300 points in the back end of turn 5 and each of our turn 6s. So, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. So, as you can see, Darren's done really well. I got 1945. He's got 3085 or something. It's a difference of 1140. I don't think I've got that quite right, but that's the true score. I got that off Tawny Keeper, and it was a 713. But I got the secondary because of my small Dryads that got into the objective, which I was really happy with, which made it a 1010. I think if the Avatar had passed his leadership check, I'd have kept him. I think I would have survived. Might be able to kill his dragon, don't know, but I've definitely killed his Imperial Guard, so they'd have been at full points. I'd have lost 1800, so I think I would have got a 12-8 win. So I was quite unlucky with that. And then I was just, the 2 things I think I was really stupid with are the Wild Huntsman and the Dragon. I did not need them within the range of his magic and shooting, and I put them in both times. So that's bad on me. I don't yeah, it's one of those things. I think it's one of those balance between whether you have a tree father ancient, which has got a bit more save to it than a dragon. The dragon has more mobility, but one you do kind of with druidism need to put it in danger, especially with this list because I want to be quite close combaty, or at least put it in risk, and therefore I find it's quite difficult to make that balance of when you need to. So, but otherwise it was a great fun game, especially swinging the last 3 turns. So yeah, that is it. Thoughts on the game? That's the wrong one. Hobby Corner. I have done some more. I'm still getting this send Forest Rangers. Unfortunately, I'm at my parents' house now, and the models, and I forgot to take a picture, are at my house. So there's nothing in Hobby Corner, but I promise you, I am doing something, and it's something I was thinking about at the end of TEC. So, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching. That is game 4 of TEC. I'm on 32 points, I think, at this game. So not great, but it's okay. And I think I was a bit unlucky there, but it was a good fun game. It was a good laugh actually. So something I going to lunch going, how have I done that? And I thought I was winning like 14-6 plus at one point, and then it was all very swingy. So it was quite funny. But yeah, no, hats off to Darren. Didn't even know it was a very difficult. It looked a very bad situation. He pulled through and he got back to a 10-10. So as a hats off to him, like sticking with it, and it just shows it's not over till Fat Lady sings, kind of thing. So, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good one, and I will get the next one out very shortly.